The Rogue Beard Beer. Read the description of that.
Beard beer is brewed with a yeast, crafted from brewmaster John Myers' beard. No fucking way.
Yes.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Who's Drinking What? I'm Peter Hines and I'm joined alongside by Brooke Scott.
Welcome, folks.
And we're in our second episode. We learned a lot last week, and we're back to drink some more awesome beer. We've got our first ones already picked out and in front of us. Now, we're just kind of going off the menu. There's not like one brewery where we can kind of hit a lot of different stuff from them to test out, so it's totally a potpourri. Picked what we want. And Brooks, what are you drinking?
I am starting off with the Sun King Fistful of Hops Red from right here in good old Indiana.
Yeah, it's Sun King's a fairly new brewery. It's up in Indy, but they're doing really great. They're expanding out, and that is a really beautiful color-looking beer.
It's got a nice reddish tint to
it. It really does.
This is one Sun King beer I haven't had before. I've had quite a few of their beers, and I'm a big fan of the brewery, so I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, I've not heard of that one. I feel like that might be a more recent addition to their repertoire. I went with the Against the Grain Brewery, and it's called the Kentucky Fried Chicken. I'm a big fan of rye beer, so I'm looking forward to this one.
Also a big fan of fried chicken.
do like my Colonel Sanders. All right, well, Brooks, I made you wait long enough. Without further ado, let's hit this. Mm-hmm. Cheers, sir. That is some spicy stuff.
Ooh, really?
But it's super mellow at the back.
That's awesome.
Wow, you know how sometimes like you take that first sip and it's like so much flavor up front, you're just like, oh man, this thing's gonna just kill me in the back, and it just mellows out. It's really very nice, actually.
This one finishes off really hoppy. I wasn't expecting that. I like it though. Yeah.
Is it a real dry hops?
Kinda, yeah. What is it?
Fistful o' hops.
American IPA. There you go. Woo. That's good.
Oh man, that is. This is. I don't think I've had a beer that kind of like gives you that range of flavor. Like if it were like a cosine curve or something on a graph, like it would spike really fast and then just slowly sift out, and it's really nice, very comforting.
I'm talking some calculus here.
Yeah, we're getting mathematical. Man, that's great. Okay, so now that we've gotten our own feelings about it, or was there, after a few sips, is that beer doing anything different to you?
No, still really hoppy at the end.
Fistful of hops
still
is appropriate.
Still have the taste in my mouth right now.
Well, the description for mine, it is the style of it is a rye ale, which usually when you see rye, it's more in a pale ale. This one is not claiming to be a pale ale, and now that I've tasted it, I agree. It's its own thing. Let's see. The description says that it was brewed with Maris Otter rye malt and caramel rye, giving a spicy, fruity, and dry flavor, aged in a Redemption rye bourbon barrel.
Interesting.
Which they have probably plenty of those barrels floating around in Kentucky.
I'm sure they have more than enough. All right, mine is an American IPA. Let's see here. It says it features Citra, Eldorado, and Galaxy, which combine to create a pronounced tropical fruit flavor. Interesting. It starts off a little fruity like that, I think, but like I said, at the end, nice and hoppy.
All hops. Yeah, sometimes I always like to read these descriptions, and you know, I really appreciate them, and I'm sure some people do pick up the tropical fruit. Sometimes, you know, like I'm not tasting everything on the description, but still,
the smell to it's really fruity. I just took my first sniff.
Oh
of
yeah,
it. Yeah.
You mind if I take a whifter?
Have at it.
Oh yeah, that is very fruity, but I can also smell a copious amount of hops to it too. So interesting pick. speaking of interesting picks, we are in Bloomington, Indiana, the home of basketball, some would say.
Your Indiana Hoosiers.
You are a graduate of IU, are you not?
Yes, I am.
And the Fighting Hoosiers have their first game tonight.
They kick off the season this evening against Mississippi Valley State.
Always picking on the tiny schools.
Yeah, well, you have to for the first few games, don't you?
I know. Well, or else you get the where you have like the Caliparis playing Michigan State last year, the 1-2, and then he was crying about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess I would prefer to have an innocuous 50-point blowout than
You got to get your confidence up a little bit to start the year.
Hearing the coach complain. And he's actually got his IU colors on right now, too. So he's not just a passive fan. This man would rush the court in a second.
That I would. And have.
Taking a sip break. I can't leave this alone. It's where, like, when the taste kind of wears off, I want to keep hitting it again.
Yeah.
Get more and more. Actually, speaking of sports, too, last night I was really looking forward to the Thursday night football game.
Dolphins-Bills.
Should have been a great game. It turned out to be a little boring.
Yeah, first half was pretty much a turd of a game. I watched the first half, and there wasn't much happening.
Now you're a married man, and I have a question for you. On your TV, do you have a DVR?
I do.
Last night I got this. I have a live-in girlfriend, and you know when it pops up the warning like a show's about to start, record or don't record?
Yes, I'm aware.
I feel like don't record's not a real option. It's basically if you hit don't record, you're choosing to be celibate for the next month and a half.
That'll get you in some trouble.
and it only does it when there's two shows recording. Mm-hmm. Which is the max that mine will allow. And of course,
what provider do you have?
Comcast.
There's your first problem.
Yeah, exactly. If you're a beer fan, we love you. If you work at Comcast, I'm sorry, we have mixed feelings about you. But yeah, it was both of them were her shows, and it was like, I guess I'm not watching the rest of the second quarter.
Well,
and then came back to it in the third, and the Dolphins had taken the lead, but it was still kind of that low scoring. What was it, 19-9 for a while?
Yeah, I think it ended 22-9. I think a lot of field goals.
Yeah, kickers must have been busy. So
yeah, I know. Speaking of football, your girlfriend Ann is a Patriots fan. They're coming to Indianapolis Sunday night. I don't know how you feel about that. Are you a Patriots fan?
I am only because I've been watching them so much for the last 10 years. I'm primarily a Bears fan.
Oh.
But yeah, I know. That's got its own problems right now.
Well, yeah, it did. More than one problem going on there, I think.
A lot of them, Jay Cutler.
Well.
But actually, the defense is bleh.
Yeah, they've been getting their asses handed to them just as well.
But yeah, so it's one where I've watched enough Patriots that I've started to appreciate their style of play when you watch a team after a while, and they do what they do very well.
Sure.
So. But I know you're a Colts fan.
Being a Colts fan, I'm aware of what they do and how well they do it.
You mean where they've had to change rules because of Colts-Patriots games?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, that's always a fun point of contention getting brought up here in Indiana. Have you been to any Colts games this year?
Yeah, I went to one earlier in the season. I'm trying to think what game it was. Oh, it was a Colts-Titans game. My wife and I went up. I think it was about week 4, something like that. We usually try to go to 1 or 2 a year.
Yeah.
Cool atmosphere up there at Lucas Oil. Have you ever been there?
Yeah, that is a great stadium. I took my mom. She's a huge Packers fan, and I took her for her birthday. I feel like it was 2 years ago.
Was that when the Packers were killing them and they came back and the Colts came back and won? Oh man, I remember that game.
Yeah, because I think it was
turned it off.
Oh yeah. Oh, and she was ecstatic the whole first half. She was having the best time. She's like, "Oh, thank you, very happy." And then the second half, it was a total reverse.
Yeah.
Poor mom was just so heartbroken.
Well, the Colts have a tendency to do that to people. Let them get up real big on them, then they come shatter their dreams later on in the game.
I was a neutral observer, and I just thought it was
probably a good game to watch. Yeah, definitely.
So good. But
anyways, back to beer, I suppose.
back to beer, which is always fun to talk about and then drink a lot. But I think we're about to cut to a break. But coming up, we're going to test Brooks' tastes again.
All right.
And we need to come up with a name for this game. We'll work on that. If anyone has any ideas, post it in the comments. But we're going to get you 3 samples of a basic style of beer. Brooks is going to test out and see if he can tell us the style. And then within that style, we have 3 beers. And if he can read the description and figure out what it is. So we'll have that when we come back. You're listening to Who's Drinking What? Okay, it's time to test Brooks and his beer taste IQ. Okay, so I've got 3 samples of them. And I learned last week that we're going to need to go light to dark.
Yes.
And just a wrinkle, just to test, if you can smell it, give me a guess on just smell.
Based off smell alone?
Just a guess. I'm not going to hold it against you.
All right, am I starting here?
Yes, and actually, before you start, this one, with the way the tap menu was laid out this week, I was having a hard time finding a third one because they had a lot of different variety of beers, which is awesome, and I really love it. For this game, it's a little harder because I want you to try to get a general style of beer. This one is a style of beer, but I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, so I'm going to let you guess on it. I'm telling you now, though, I'm sort of setting you up for a failure on it.
Well, that's awesome. That's
so,
awesome. Here
Brooks
we go.
is going to take his first sniff. Do you have any ideas?
Ooh. I have no idea.
Okay, I kind of thought that would come.
I do not know.
And now here comes the taste. He's getting nose deep in it, ladies and gentlemen. It's... and that's the face you should have. It kind of kicks you right as it finishes off.
It tastes lemony. That's...
Okay.
I'll tell you that much. I don't know what kind of beer it is.
Okay. Well, this is a style that is a German style.
Okay.
It's a Berliner Weiss.
All right.
Have you heard of that?
I don't think
type
so.
Before?
I don't think so.
I think it's within, one of the German styles, like an offshoot.
Yeah.
But it is its own style.
What
Now you have
here?
2 of them to choose between, so you've got a 50-50 chance. What you had is either the Bell's Oarsman,
Okay.
or the Destill Counterclockwise.
I'm gonna go with the Destill. It's because
You're not even taking time to read. You just...
I saw that one said sour on it, and that tasted pretty sour. So.
Well, sir, you have chosen correctly.
All right.
And I kind of looked up the Destill Brewery. What's interesting, we're in Bloomington, Indiana, right?
I believe so.
Great town. What's always funny about anyone living in Bloomington, Indiana, you're always aware that there's a Bloomington, Illinois.
Yes, there is.
And that is where Destill is located.
Really?
This brewery started up in 2007, but what's interesting is the man who started it was a lawyer for 11 years, decided to change professions, went to brewery school, and started making these beers under Destill.
Vast change of pace there.
Yeah, man. I mean, this is what I love about craft beer. It unites the people, lawyers down to common folk like us.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah. I was gonna say, after my initial sniff on that one, it smelled kind of like a sour, but it's a little. I do like sour beers. That was a bit different though than your traditional sour beer.
And I've had a Belgian Imperial Wit is also a very similar style of beer where they've got a very yeasty taste that gives it to sour. It's not like what you're traditionally used to in the bitter parts of beers that we get around here. It's a very unique way in that they sour it, and then it usually has a lemon note to it too.
Definitely got that. All right, are we on to the next one then?
Yeah. Do you feel like your taste buds have returned that you can try something completely different?
I think so.
All right. And he's putting down a nice amberish beer here. Taking a sniff. Do you have any guesses after the sniff?
Maybe a pale ale would be my guess, just based off the sniff.
Okay. Now, one of the reasons I chose this, there's kind of becoming emerging categories within pale ales.
Sure.
You have your India Pale Ale, your Imperial India Pale Ale, your American IPA, and then just the ones that are regular pale ales, like American Pale Ales. Do you have a guess as to maybe what class out of those it could be?
You're kind of splitting hairs here, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
I'd go. Doesn't smell.
Well, you know what?
Maybe just a regular pale ale is what I'd say. I mean, I don't know.
I'll let you taste it and see if you stick with that. I am getting very school teacherish on you, aren't I?
Ooh.
That's in a reaction. Thinking. I can see a lot of thought going on in this.
I don't know if it is. I don't know. It kind of threw me off. That's not what I was expecting based off the smell. It's pretty hoppy at the end. It's pretty smooth going down though. I don't know. What are my choices here?
All right. Do you have a guess on the type?
1 second.
Yeah, that's fine. He's going for another one, and that's all the sample holds. It's tough.
I'm just gonna guess an American IPA. I do not know.
Bam, nailed it.
No.
You got. What's interesting was I didn't know ahead of time what you were going to order. So when you ordered the American IPA fistful, I was like, oh boy, this is going to be interesting because I had pre-selected your samples.
Yeah, well, that's definitely completely different from this one, even though it's the same beer.
I figured that would help. Now, your choices here are between Bell's Two Hearted, Founder's Harvest, the Triton Rail Splitter. And while you ponder that, Bell's is one of the originators of the craft beer movement. And they started way back in 1985 was their first sale. The company actually started in 83. They were a craft brewery supply store. So I guess after 2 years, what the hell, we got this laying around. Let's make it our own.
I've actually been to the brewery at Bell's.
Have you?
It's up in is it Kalamazoo, Michigan, I believe?
Kalamazoo's the place.
Yeah, we went on vacation there a couple summers ago. We went up to northern Michigan and we hit it on the way and stopped in there and ate some food and drank some beer. I tell you what, they've got about 30 or 40 beers on tap there at the actual brewery, and about 75% of them I'd never seen or heard of that they don't even sell in bulk or distribute. I had some good ones. If anyone is ever near the area, I would definitely recommend checking it out.
I've heard that's a fantastic place.
Yeah, it is. It's real. I don't know how to describe it. Real old looking, and I know it's pretty cool. You can go on a little tour of it and stuff like that. But
on their website, it sounds like that's the same building that they started with back in 85.
I'd definitely say so. It's just kind of a little hole-in-the-wall type place. There's not too much around it or anything like that, but
that's so cool.
All right.
So yeah, you've got your Two Hearted, the Founder's Harvest.
I'm gonna
the Triton Rail
Splitter. I might start eliminate one here.
Okay.
I'm gonna eliminate the Two Hearted.
Yep. I kind of set you up on that after last week. If you guys didn't listen, Brooks said that Two Hearted was the beer that got him into the love of craft beer.
Yeah, I definitely did not think that was it. But
and then the Founder's
Harvest or Triton Rail Splitter. I'm gonna go with Triton Rail Splitter.
You got it, man.
Hey, 2 for 2 on the day.
Man, smacking it out of the park. Yeah, Triton. I wasn't sure if you'd had the Rail Splitter. I love that.
I don't know if I have or not. I know I've had a few Triton beers. They've got like a Magnificent Amber, I think, or something like that. I believe that's what it's called. Right. Don't quote me on that, but yeah, I know I've had a few Triton beers. I don't know if I've had that one or not. However,
they're a fairly new brewery out of Indy, so went with the local. Brooks, are you ready for your last one?
Let's do it.
All right. If you want to take a sniff, give us your thoughts, and take a swig.
Doesn't really smell like much. Looks like a stout, just at first glance.
Man, this guy's got all his senses working towards nailing beer.
I don't know. There's not too much of a smell to it. I might have to give it a taste test here.
Yeah, see what the tongue says.
Maybe a porter?
Goes with maybe a porter. Is that going to be your... You sounded a little...
It's kind of on the line there, and it's very dark. I'm not sure. I'm going to guess a porter.
Okay. Well, you were close.
All right.
It's a stout.
Well,
you were right off.
Should have went with my instinct.
Visual. Okay, so between your stout choices here, you've got Guinness.
Mm-hmm.
There is the Southern Tier Chocolat.
Okay.
And then the Young's Double Chocolate.
Okay.
So while he's kind of deciding between those, we've got two of them from the UK Isles. Both of them are pretty interesting because Young's is in England, and they started in 1831 when they bought the Ram Brewery. But the Ram Brewery,
wow.
that was just the start of Young's.
Okay.
The Ram Brewery, they say, was England's longest running brewery before it got shut down in the early 2000s, dating back to 1550.
Okay.
Yeah, that place is already pumping out beer for about 300 years before Young's got a hold of it. And then Guinness has quite a history too. They started in 1759 at St. James Gate, which I've actually got lucky enough to visit a few years ago on St. Patrick's Day. And I wanted to take the tour, and we were kind of in the downtown Dublin area along the Liffey River, and it was a much further walk than the tourist map indicated it was to the brewery. And we get all the way out there, and the line to get in was probably 2.5 blocks long.
Oof.
So I did pass on that. I got to see the gates. I'll put some pictures of that up.
That's good enough.
It was really impressive.
All right, here. I'm not sure. I don't really taste any chocolate. However, I've had 3 different beers, so it could be there and I'm not getting it.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any that you want to eliminate?
I'm just going to go for it and guess Guinness.
You got it, dude.
Hey.
Nice. But even though he wasn't, completely certain, I think, you were able to pick it out. And well done. So you actually were able to guess all 3 of them.
It was a good day today.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to throw it to another break. And I think when we come back, we're going to get our second beer, introduce a new segment called This Day in Beer History. So I hope you guys are enjoying it so far. We'll be back with more. Well, we have our second beers here. Look delicious. And how about we drink them first and then describe them to people? I won't make you wait.
Hey, fair enough.
Cheers to the second round. Oh man, that is interesting.
No go on yours, or
I'm gonna need more than one, I think, to really get a. If you want to be the go into description on yours, I'll kind of figure mine out while you're doing that.
All right, fair enough. All right, I went with the Dog Fishhead 90-minute Imperial IPA. I'll give you a little description here. 90-minute has a great malt backbone that stands up to the extreme hopping rate, continuously hopped, allowing for a pungent but not crushing hop flavor. I completely agree with that. It describes it pretty well.
That's always one of my favorites. I mean, it probably is my total favorite, actually. I was so happy when they came back to Indiana.
Sure. Did we talk about that last week?
Oh, yeah.
Well, then maybe we won't talk about it again.
Not too much, no, but you people in Delaware, you make a good beer, and I love it.
You know what you're doing out there on the East Coast.
I went with the Sun King Captain Sparkles. It wasn't just because of the name. but it's listed as an Australian pale ale.
Australian
I have never heard of that.
Foster's.
It's, yeah, definitely not Foster's. Dude, I met some Australian dudes on a cruise this year, and they literally were walking around the ship the entire time with the Giant's Foster oil
The
cans
oil
up.
cans?
Yes, it's like, you guys are awesome and kind of a stereotype.
Yeah, very stereotypical. When I was in college, I believe it was Brothers, it's a bar here in Bloomington, Indiana, and many other cities throughout the Midwest, but they had, I think it was Wednesday nights or Thursday nights maybe, they had like dollar oil can night or something like that.
That's
and we'd go drink a shit ton of Fosters and just get loaded. I mean, it's not very good, but
No,
when you're getting oil cans for $1, what else are you gonna do?
That's hilarious. But yeah, it's actually growing on me. It's one of those that I don't think it kind of defies description. It doesn't quite fit in. Maybe Australian Pale Ale is a great classification because it's not like a true pale ale that we're mostly accustomed to. So it took me a few sips to figure it out. I'm gonna take another. But yeah, it's also got a great descriptions. From Sun King up in Indy, celebrates Captain Sparkles and other brave mustachioed folks like him this Movember with a golden ale, smooth malty character, and slight hop bitterness.
Do we know exactly who Captain Sparkles is?
I believe he must be some mustachioed hero.
He sounds like a man I'd trust.
He probably captains a great sea vessel, daring adventure, defying death at every wave. That's what kind of man I picture Captain Sparkles to be.
Yeah, maybe an eye patch. I don't know.
Well, and this speculation into history leads well into our last segment here. It's going to be called This Day in Beer History. This headline that I'm going to read is ripped from 5000 BC Mesopotamia. From the Daily Tablet.
I've heard of those.
Local buffoon discovers new beverage, calls it dizzy juice. The first paragraph here reads, local stonecracker, Nercules, discovered a new drink from water standing in his grain bin. Nercules was home one evening, had run out of water, and did not want to walk out to the communal water pit. So in search of liquid, he found in his hut some standing liquid in his grain bin. I'm not reading this properly, so you guys know. It was a combination of rain that had dripped through his shoddy thatch job and honey that had leaked from his shoddy honey pouch job. He claims the mixture had sat in the bin for several weeks. He said that, what the Gilgamesh, my life can't get any worse, and he drank it. Turns out, it is a malty, refreshing drink that gives the drinker the sensation of floating. It goes on, but this was obviously chronicling the humble beginnings of beer.
Obviously.
And I'll drink to that.
Yep. Fair enough.
And let me tell you, it was very difficult to decipher the ancient Mesopotamian, but I was able to pull it off for you guys. So yeah, we're gonna have a new This Day in Beer History coming fast for you. And actually, still working out the production schedule for the show. We're taping every Friday at the Tap Beer Bar here in Bloomington, which is a fantastic location. But I think it went up Thursday this week. I'm going to try to get them out on Tuesdays.
Okay.
So, and for anybody who's just sitting there, what day is it? What day in history are you referencing? This is November 14th, 2014.
Indeed it is.
Probably should start putting that at the top of the show.
And if you live near Bloomington, Indiana, and have not checked out the Tap Beer Bar, please do yourself a favor and do so.
Oh, it's so amazing. And they're constantly turning over the menu. They have probably 40 to 50 on tap all the time. So you're going to find something you like.
They recently opened a kitchen, serve a full menu now. Recently opened a brew pub. They brew their own beer. They got a full beer menu, which I'm sure we'll get into one of these weeks.
Yes, and they have a very full individual drinking beer here in the name of Peter. Our producer just passed along Captain Sparkles. If I can pull this photo, it shall be up on the YouTube feed, interspersed between other various pictures of the show.
Well, there is a mustache involved.
That is fantastic. For anyone who's just listening on the other sites that you can get this fine podcast, I emphasize fine, it is a cuddly koala in a sailor's hat.
It's indeed not a man with an eye patch, like I thought.
But I still believe he defies death at every wave.
Yes, of course.
Well, Brooks, I think that's going to bring our show to an end this week.
All right. Well,
go IU tonight.
Let's go Hoosiers.
They need the wins where they can get them, I hear.
Yes, they do.
And I want to thank everyone for listening. Stick with us. We're going to have more fantastic shows next week. Drink on.
Sitting on my bed in my red pajamas, watching Michigan State take on Indiana, and honey, thought you'd like to know. I don't mean to be apologizing, and I hate wasting time philosophizing, 'cause baby, I'm a little bit slow. I know a lot of people catch on to things quicker, and maybe I spend too much time with my liquor, and I stand still while the others go. And I never get jokes until hours later, and then I crack up in a crowded elevator, 'cause baby, I'm a little bit slow.